In the last video, I introduced the concept of early warning, the series of devices and procedures set in place to alert those of a predictable or occurring disaster. I also introduced a nifty safety device, the NOAA weather radio, and why radios are important to our early warning systems. Today we're going to be taking a look into my review of the Midland WR-120EZ, which is your standard desktop SAME digital weather and all hazards alert radio. Let's take a look. Today I'm going to be reviewing this Midland WR-120EZ radio. I got this on Christmas a few years ago, and it's a really good radio, honestly. It's very basic and it's easy to use. So let's just quickly go through the setup. You have time. You can. This has a alarm, pretty loud too. Set language. Language can be from English, Francais, and Espanol. Yeah. I use English because we're in the US. You have location, which you can have from single to multiple to any location. When it comes to setting up your radio, this Midland WR-120 actually has a whole database of locations that you can select. You're not allowed to see that, so I'll be censoring that out. But let's change this. All right, so we're in the USA. Actually, no. So this is location 1 if you are using a single. Let's choose multiple. So we'll go into 2, which is empty. You have USA. You can select a state that you live in, or territory, that is. You have American Samoa here. Let's just choose Delaware. Let's see. Oh yeah, there are 3 counties. That makes it easy. So it has a whole database of counties that are in your state. So let's just say I live in Newcastle County, and it automatically programs all of the same code in here. So Newcastle, Delaware, we'll just select that. Delaware can, oh, oops, my bad. Well, I changed it, but if you happen to hit the right arrow here, you can actually edit the same number. Your same number can be found on the National Weather Service National Weather Radio website, which I'll link in the description. But basically, your same code is a specific number that is assigned to your county, and whenever an alert is broadcasted, it will broadcast that number to your radio, and your radio will filter out any alerts that do not match this number. If the number that is broadcast matches this number, then your radio will go off. So let's see if I'll have to delete it later, but yeah. So we got our location set. This is your alert type. You have a alert type of voice, which sounds the siren for about 8 seconds and then goes to the voice. You have display, which just displays the warning when it's received. No tones will be occurring. And you have a tone, which is basically the siren goes off for 3 minutes. That's useful if, say, you have the radio in a hidden part of your house and you need to hear it. You have the alert test, which it's really loud, so yeah. This tests the warning siren, which I'll do now. So I have the decibel meter over here, and it's going to be testing how loud the siren is. So let's see, this is about 15 centimeters. So at 15 centimeters, let's take a look at how loud it is. 15, yeah, it's about 15 centimeters. You don't have to be exact. Let's do this. See, the max was about 96 decibels. That's pretty loud. And it's sure to get you woken up from your sleep. All right, let's go down. We're gonna set the channel. Ooh, thunderstorms on Tuesday and Friday. Like I said, there's 7 channels that are on here. You have a backlight, which sets your backlight if it's set on normal, but you have the option of having the backlight on all the time or having the backlight off all the time. Button beeps, that's self-explanatory. You can have your events set custom, have that set to all on, but you can edit your events to be specific. For example, if I don't want an administrative message, I can set that to off, and then I can save it. You also have the option of having it at default. That leaves it to default settings. All off, which only reserves the radio to be used in important events. but I like to have it all on because I'm a part-time EAS enthusiast. And that's it. Easy to. So as you can see, this was really easy to set up. It's essentially just a plug-and-play system. Just with a few programming, it will actually ask you a few questions when you start programming it, which is basically the stuff from the menu. But other than that, it's really easy to program, and that's what I like about this radio. It's really easy to set up and use. It's user-friendly. If you look on the bottom left corner, you'll notice that it has a public alert symbol. What that is that if you take a look to the back of the radio, you'll notice that we have 4 different ports. This one's for external antenna, this one's for your power cable, this one is for the external alert. And what that is that the external alert is a 3.5mm jack that is specifically designed for use in, say, in handicapped, for those who tend to be handicapped, particularly for those who might be deaf or blind. What the external alert port is that it applies a low voltage current to a device, and it activates the device whenever an alert is received. I've seen videos on YouTube of people actually rigging the external port with a relay. They'll connect it to a relay, and then they'll actually have a fire alarm system go off. So you can do a lot with this. You just have to have the proper equipment to set it up. Other than that, it's really useful if you happen to have a disability and you need to be alerted in a alternative manner. But also the public alert also certifies this radio to be used pretty much by everyone. And although it is desktop, it is very sleek and slim, and the design allows for easy transport in, say, a bag. If we take a closer look at the specs, here's my ruler. We have, so the bottom here is about, let's see, we'll just use estimates for this case. You have 15 centimeters. 15 centimeters, then you have about 13.5 centimeters. And if you look at the width here is maybe about 4.5 centimeters. So it's really a slim device that you can easily carry in a bag if you ever have to travel with it, though it's not really designed for it. It also has a weather radio on-off switch, which if you turn it off, it only acts as an alarm clock, and it conserves power in the event you have to conserve the radio for a later use. If you happen to want to listen to the radio at some point, you can just hit weather/snooze. You can adjust the volume with these up-down arrows. So what are some things I don't exactly like about this radio? Well, for one thing, the buzzer, well, the entire weather radio is really loud. The buzzer's loud, siren's loud, which, by the way, can be viewed as something that's good or bad. It's kind of bad because it scares me awake, and I don't like getting scared awake. But you can also hear it clearly with the doors open around the house. So that could be a good or bad thing, depending on the timing of when the radio goes off. One thing I found really peculiar about this radio is that it has an up-down volume button, rather than just using the up-down arrows that are on the keypad. They're kind of useless buttons unless if you're actively listening to the weather. And when you hit the up-down buttons on the keypad, instead it just displays the message that are valid. But you have to use the up-down buttons to adjust the volume whenever you want to. Also, this volume button does not actually adjust the siren. The siren is always at around 90 decibels. One thing I also don't like about this radio is that it doesn't have any memory after the events expire. If you hit the up-down button, it just displays no message if there are no events that have occurred. But if you want to look at, it also doesn't really provide the details of when the messages were valid. Let's compare that to the Recom weather radio that actually stores up to 50 different events. We can see that we got a required weekly test about a week ago. We had a required weekly test on the 6th of February, which is actually when we had the tornado drill at 9 o'clock. It shows a lot more, this radio tends to show a lot more detailed, rather than just saying, oh, there was no message that was ever, like there was messages that were issued, they just have expired. But I guess that's kind of what you get with a basic radio. So how would I rate this radio? Well, I would say that this radio is about 8 out of 10. It does tend to have its quirks, but that's kind of what you get with a basic, not so top of the line radio. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best, but it does get the job done at a relatively low price compared to this extremely expensive $150 radio, which, yeah. Well guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope that you liked my review of this Midland WR-120EZ. If you happen to have any questions about this radio, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. I'll make sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Other than that, have a good day, stay safe, and let's get prepared. See you later. Bye.